Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Industry Insights. Today, we will be putting a spotlight on defence and security careers. My name is Amanda Thompson. I'm the MD of Campus Media, and I'm joined here by 4 other employers today. We have our sponsors, MI5, MI6, GCHQ, or otherwise known as Secret Intelligence Service, and we'll have David from their careers team live in the chat right now, answering all of your questions. For obvious reasons, he's not able to be here in person on our panel. I'm also joined by Nathan, remotely on Teams call from the Royal Navy, who is stepping in for their apprentices who are currently now deployed, but Nathan works within Careers Advice as well. And Molly from DSTL, and Alice from Thales. So first of all, I'm going to go over to Nathan, who can introduce himself, tell us a bit more about your organisation.
Thanks, Amanda. So my name is Lieutenant Nathan Price. Good afternoon, everybody. And I joined the Navy in September 2016. I joined as a Marine Engineering Officer. I've spent all of my career so far on Vanguard class submarines. I've completed 2 deterrent patrols and various maintenance periods within the submarine service. As you can imagine, when we deploy a Royal Naval vessel in operations, we are completely self-sufficient. And that comes with a huge range of roles on board to make us effective. So I'm here today to talk about how all of those roles within the Royal Navy come with apprenticeships, and all you'll be given a accredited qualification from a level 2, level 3, and work yourself all the way up to potentially a bachelor's degree in your choice. If there's any engineers in the audience, I'm here again to talk about our brand new accelerated apprenticeship scheme. For that, you can join at 18 years of age and you'll start on £35,000 a year. And you'll go on to our leading engineering technician training pipeline, where we'll teach you to operate, maintain, diagnose and repair all naval tech. And that can be from missiles and sonar all the way to nuclear reactors. To give you a little flavour of what life's like working in the Royal Navy, we have a short video for you to watch now.
Day-to-day lifestyle in the Navy in terms of accommodation and schedule, I'd say it's a really sociable and fun environment.
There's never a dull moment. No one's ever going to be short of asking you to go for a drink. It's very much so a 24-hour gym. There's a football pitch right outside where I live. There's always somebody about it every time.
I do like living in Cornwall. You can finish work and just head straight down to the beach.
There's a massive variety of what you can do. When you are going through your first rank, you will be passed around the sections to get a taste of what it's like to work for each area.
After being at HMS Raleigh, I'm going to an airbase. I'm looking forward to this because there's going to be a lot of varied tasks for me to do. After this, we'll be going to sea, and that's also exciting because that's going to be nothing like we've ever done before.
I just like being up in the squadron, sort of put under pressure a bit, makes you think more about what you're doing. And also because they are live aircraft, you don't want to be the one that makes the mistake.
I'm wanting to be a chef submariner based on the fact that after doing research, it just seemed more appealing to me. I like to be independent on the research, certain types of submarines. You basically are in the kitchen on your own, so it gives you a chance to prove that you can be independent and prove your skills. With it being such a compact crew, everybody needs to know how to work every part of a submarine.
I definitely want to go on ship, definitely want to go around and see the world. That's why you join up. You don't join up to go home every weekend.
19 years old, I travelled to like 24 different countries, the Far East, India, the Mediterranean, and I'd only been in the Navy 2.5 years.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Molly Scarlett. I am an embedded electronics engineering degree apprentice within the Defence and Science Technology Laboratory, known as DSTL. DSTL is a department under the MOD, Ministry of Defence, which deals with military science and technology that is generally deemed either too commercially inviable or more oftenly too secure or too sensitive to go to industry. We are hiring for a number of apprenticeship roles, and and I am currently within the Electronics Engineering Degree Apprenticeship, which has a focus on RF. And to tell you a bit more about what we do as a department in the civil service, here is a short video.
Hello everyone, my name is Alice Hardy. I'm from Thales, better known to my colleagues as Alice from Thales. I'm really happy to be here today to share with you more about our apprenticeships, a little bit about Thales. We work across the defence and security sector, the aerospace sector, the space sector, and also within digital security. So there's going to be a little video now with a bit more about what we do and our apprenticeship schemes.
You might not have heard of Thales before today, but you might be surprised to know that you have come across our technology as part of your everyday life. Did you know that 2 out of 3 aircraft in the world take off and land with Thales equipment? Our fare collection systems handle 50 million transactions daily on the London Underground, and Thales Alenia Space is the prime contractor for ExoMars. Europe's first mission to land on the planet will address the question of whether life has ever existed on Mars. At Thales, we have a number of early careers opportunities, from apprenticeships, internships, and graduate placements within the business. At Thales, we have a number of apprenticeship opportunities, from level 2 to level 7, enabling you to grow a meaningful career while studying for your qualifications. At Thales, we believe that becoming an apprentice with us will be the start of an exciting and rewarding career. At Thales, our graduates have the opportunity to develop their skills and competencies through an effective rotational programme. You will benefit from working at a company that truly cares about you and your personal development within the business. We know you're not going to have lots of professional experience already. What we look for is motivation, passion, and enthusiasm for your chosen career. We hope you will consider a career with Thales and are excited about the opportunities we have on offer.
Thank you very much for those intros. That's great. Really intriguing, actually. I think careers in defence and security are quite secretive for obvious reasons, and I'm going to share with you now a video from the Secret Intelligence Service which just outlines the different opportunities that you can do from an apprenticeship level within their organisation. David, again, within the careers team, is in the chat, and I can see that there's questions being pointed towards him already, so that's great. Please keep them coming in, and we'll just take a look now at their video.
Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us today to find out how you could be an apprentice at MI5, MI6 or GCHQ. It's unusual to hear from 3 different organisations at once, but that's us. We're unusual, a bit different, unexpected. We've got 3 different identities, 3 different remits, but one mission: to keep everyone in the UK and overseas safe. That's where you come in. We need all sorts of people to join us in all sorts of roles. We're not after lots of experience or expertise. We're after your potential, your drive, passion, integrity, perspective, and curiosity. Ready for a meaningful career? We thought so. You're probably wondering, who are we exactly? We're MI5, MI6 and GCHQ, and we all share the same goal: to keep the UK safe. It takes everyone in each agency to help protect everyone in the UK, by using our specialist skills and working together to counter threats, prevent danger and protect the country. So, what's the difference between each agency? What is their main focus? MI5 is responsible for the domestic security of the UK. They gather intelligence within the country and help to identify and counter threats to the UK from terrorism, cyber attacks and espionage. MI6 works overseas to make the UK a safer and more prosperous place by staying one step ahead of our adversaries and working with foreign partners, combating international terrorism and weapons proliferation, and to help support global stability. And GCHQ is focused on all things tech and cyber. They pioneer a new kind of security by developing technologies that can access, analyse and disrupt threats to the UK, both in the real world and online. So, why do an apprenticeship with us? You can start work straight away without building up any uni debt. You'll gain qualifications on your apprenticeship. You won't need years of experience in the field to get in, and you don't have to be a certain type of person to work here. We're looking for people who are motivated and willing to learn, and just by watching this presentation, you're showing that interest. A day in the life.
I'm usually up and out by about 7:45, which is a bit later than my housemates. It helps me to avoid the queue for the shower and gives me an extra 5 minutes sleep. These things make all the difference. I stick a podcast on while I'm on the tube or just listen to some music. It's quite nice to have some me time before the day gets started. And once I'm in work, I grab some porridge from our canteen or a bacon sandwich if I feel like a treat. As an apprentice, my week varies between learning days and working days. For me, it's the perfect balance of knowing what's coming up while still having a bit of variety. It keeps things interesting and fresh. On my working days, I shadow different teams and learn all the practical skills I need. I can't say too much about what I do, but I can tell you that I'm working on projects to turn my ideas into tools for the intelligence officers and data analysts here. All apprentices get stuck in. We're valued as much as anyone else. I get to grips with lots of different tech and try to push the boundaries. There's a really big focus on innovation. We get involved with development challenges, and it's exciting to try and do something no one else has. I usually have a quick break and some sort of caffeine hit at around 11 a.m. At this point, the team I'm shadowing check in with me and make sure I'm doing okay. Everyone's so friendly. You really feel like there's no such thing as a silly question. At lunchtime, I sometimes go for a run with the other apprentices. It's nice to have the time to get some fresh air by the river. I'm catching up with some of my induction cohort today and finding out how they're settling in too. It's good to know I'm not the only one finding my feet settling in, especially as we can't talk to our family about what we're working on. After lunch, I brush up on the techniques I've learned and run through all my findings with someone in the team. I normally have a chat with my line manager about how I'm getting on. It's a good chance to think about what I've learnt and how I can push myself. And just like that, the day's done. At 5 p.m, a few of us usually head out for an hour or so. There's so much to do around here. Museum lates, crazy golf, secret cinemas, you name it, we've done it. Or we're getting round to it. But more often than not, we end up grabbing some food. Everyone in the team always comes up with a new place to try. So it would be rude not to. It's really strange to think I only finished my A-levels not that long ago. I never imagined that I could go on to do this sort of work. It's so meaningful. You really feel like you're doing some good. And I'm learning the whole time and making such good friends along the way. It's such a win-win.
Apprenticeships we offer and what you need. Now you're probably wondering what apprenticeships we have to offer. Well, we have 4 apprenticeships and you'll work very closely with our whole intelligence community, no matter which agency you join. The first apprenticeship is software engineering, with places available in both central London and Manchester. You'll need 3 A-levels, one of them being in a science, technology, engineering or maths subject, otherwise known as STEM subjects. Also, you'll need GCSEs in English and maths at grade C or 4 or higher. If you don't have GCSEs, we accept equivalent functional skills at level 2 and higher. On this software engineering apprenticeship, you earn a competitive salary for the area you're in and gain a 3-year Bachelor of Science degree, all whilst working on real-world software engineering challenges and applying your skills as you learn. The second apprenticeship we offer is the Cyber Apprenticeship, which is a Level 4 apprentice programme. It runs for 18 months in central London, and to join you'll need a Maths and English GCSE along with 112 UCAS points. You'll have access to state-of-the-art facilities all while you earn your qualification. The third apprenticeship is Infrastructure Engineering, with places available in central London. You'll need 3 A-levels, with at least 2 of them at grade B or higher and 1 of them at grade C or higher. 2 of the A-levels must also be in a STEM subject, and an ITIL foundation would be great, but is not essential. On an infrastructure engineering apprenticeship, again you'd earn a competitive salary for the area and gain a Level 4 apprenticeship qualification. And lastly, we have our Cyber First degree apprenticeship based at GCHQ in Cheltenham. Here, you'll need A-level exam predictions or have attained grades at BBC or higher, or grades equivalent to 112 UCAS points. On the Cyber First apprenticeship, you'll get a degree qualification and a competitive salary for the area, as well as being able to get stuck into cutting-edge tech that most people have never seen before. Hear from a real apprentice. We asked one of our infrastructure apprentices a few questions about their application process and what their apprenticeship is like, and this is what he said.
I applied for the infrastructure apprenticeship with an open mind and was just willing to learn a bit more in the STEM subject. The applications and vetting process is very thorough because of the nature of the work here, but we're also given newsletters and access to online learning materials in this time, which I really enjoyed. The role is a mixture of college-based learning and working, but I'm earning my salary the whole time. The team I'm in is really supportive and is a real mixture of people from a variety of backgrounds, and I get to work with some world-leading experts. They help you to apply everything you've learned to real-world situations. They help to keep the country safe. Even though I'm an apprentice, I'm always encouraged to put my ideas forward and look at problems in unusual ways. We have to build a portfolio to evidence the work we do, so this new way of thinking really helps me to document everything. There are loads of opportunities for career progression too, and my line manager's been great with getting me lots of training, so that I'm confident when I apply for a promotion next year.
So, what can you expect from us? Well, you'll be met with really friendly people and not just a collaborative, but an inclusive environment. We have lots of clubs across the intelligence agencies, so there's always something to chat about with each other. We have a great work-life balance because the nature of our work means we always try to keep work and home separate. You'll have lots of support to help with your learning, but also in other ways, from flexible working to pairing you up with a buddy and our open approach to mental health. We do our best to look after your well-being. There are plenty of opportunities for progression, including gaining qualifications and applying for roles after your apprenticeship. and your development is formed by a wide range of training to help you with softer skills as well as professional skills related to your role. How to apply. So, now that you've found out about the apprenticeships, how do you apply for them? There are a few steps which check you're able to apply for us and that we're the right fit for you. In the pre-eligibility check, we'll simply ask a few questions and check you meet our requirements. If you do, we'll give you a link to create an account. In your initial application, we'll just take some contact details and let you know the relevant requirements of the role. In the next stage, you'll either take an online test and fill out an application form or go straight to the form, depending on the role. If successful, you'll go through to the assessment stage. Here you'll be asked to either take a test, attend an interview, or an assessment centre which could be online or at one of our recruitment offices. Your final interview or interviews give us a chance to find out about your motivations and for you to ask us any questions. Remember those initial checks we mentioned? This is the stage where that happens. Vetting is thorough, but it's a necessary step we all go through. We know it may seem a daunting process to go through, but we will support you all the way through and keep you updated as you go through the process with an experienced and dedicated vetting officer. And once you've passed the vetting, you're in. When to apply. We usually recruit in the autumn, but keep an eye out throughout the year as more opportunities may pop up. It might be hard to imagine working at an intelligence agency without much experience, but remember, we're asking for people willing to learn and that have an interest in what we do. People just like you. So with that in mind, we just say, be yourself, be honest. Think about why you might want to work for us. Look at our websites to get a little bit more information. Believe in yourself. And any experience you have from school, college, your life, part-time job, and even hobbies can be relevant. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We hope that you found it helpful and we hope to hear from you soon. To find out more information, visit the MI5, MI6 or GCHQ websites. The URLs are on the screen now.
That was fantastic insights there from the Secret Intelligence Service. Thank you very much for putting that together. And thank you, David, for being so active in the chat and answering all of those questions. And I'm just going to echo them back into the room here because they are really relevant for a lot of you as well. So although you guys don't have to hide who you are, as David does, how much information are you able to disclose about what it is you do for a job and who you work for example? Alice, I'll come to you first.
So for me, I can share what we do as a business with, so I work in early careers, so I tend to share that with future prospective employees. But as a business, we have different levels of security and different products that we work on. So some of the stuff that we do is top secret. So you would have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which means that you can't discuss that with anyone outside of the people working on that project. In our buildings, we do have levels of access to certain areas that you can't go in unless you've got a certain type of clearance. So we work on some really, really cool stuff, but I just can't talk about it. So sorry about that. But yeah, the main stuff, we can talk about lots of different things that happen within the defence sector, but there are some top secret projects that we're on. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you. Molly?
As a government department who deals with the most sensitive work, we obviously deal with huge amounts of highly classified information, which is all dealt with in different ways. Some people deal with less classified or even public projects that you can find about in places like the government website. But a lot of our work is highly classified, has countless restrictions on levels of security clearance and different accesses and getting the right pass and stuff. So I can talk about vague details that I sit at a desk sometimes and I work on electronic components sometimes, but I can't share any of the specifics of what electronic components, for what purposes, for what goal, with virtually anyone outside of my team or group.
And Nathan, what is it like for you? Are you able to talk to your friends and family about what you do?
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely a split between the role and then operational sensitive information. So the role that you're doing in the Royal Navy, whatever it may be, whether you're a logistician, a medical or an engineering, you can tell your friends and family what you're doing, what you're working on within your job. I'd say the operational element then, anything that could put the ship, the vessel or the personnel in any danger or any additional risk, then that's what we need to be careful about. And we just ask our personnel to be careful what they post on social media. However, once a ship is in port in a foreign country, it's very hard to hide a 25,000-ton warship. So once we are there, then you can post on social media, ring your friends and family and tell them what you're up to. Any activity, sport you're playing while you're over there, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, just need to be conscious of what you're disclosing. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And I'm just catching up on the questions that David's answering in the chat as well. It does add a level of excitement and intrigue to your apprenticeship, though. Surely, yes, I'm doing an apprenticeship, but I can't tell you what it's going to be about. There was another question that came in actually just before the intros from SIS, and that was where your apprenticeships are based for the Royal Navy. I think that massive starting salary that you mentioned, Nathan, has got people excited. And before you answer that, I would just like to point out that that is incredibly high for an apprenticeship. I know it's a degree apprenticeship salary, but that is way above average that you're offering there. So somebody wants to know where your apprenticeships are based, and maybe you could tell us a little bit more about this brand new scheme then.
Absolutely, yes. So it's a very good question. Quite rightly, you'd like to know where you're going to end up, especially if you start working for the Royal Navy. It's quite a broad answer. So you'd start your training or phase 1 training in our apprenticeship scheme in HMS Raleigh. Raleigh is based just outside of Plymouth, right down in the southwest. After that, you then go into phase 2 training. Now, very briefly, we have 3 branches of engineering. So we have our marine engineers, our weapons engineers, and our aircraft engineers. And your chosen branch that you go into then decides where you're going to go next. So you're either going to go to Collingwood, HMS Collingwood, or HMS Sultan, which are 2 training establishments, both of which are based in Gosport, which is just outside of Portsmouth. You'll then finish your training. It takes about 18 months before you're qualified, and we're giving your apprenticeships qualifications, and you're ready to go to your first vessel or aircraft squadron. Now, most of our aircraft bases, they're all based in the southwest as well, dotted about sort of Devon, Cornwall way. As for ships and submarines, all of our surface fleet, or the vast majority of our surface fleet, is based in Portsmouth Naval Base and Plymouth Naval Base. All of our submarines, if you'd like to go down that route, are based up in Faslane, which is about a 40 minute drive just outside of Glasgow. So there is an element of moving around a little bit early in your career, but that's not a bad thing. You get to experience different places in the UK and meet loads of different people. So hopefully that answers the question.
Perfectly, and thank you. I've got a question in specifically for DSTL actually. Are you part of the government?
So yes, DSTL is a department under the Ministry of Defence, so we are a part of the civil service, just as the Department for Transport or the Department for International Trade might be. And that comes again with all the perks of being part of the civil service, the Defence Discount Card, Civil Service Sports Council, things like that.
And in terms of your location?
We are based primarily, my apprenticeship is based at the site near Salisbury in Porton Down. However, we do have a site in Portsdown West near Fareham, as well as a satellite site in Newcastle.
Perfect. And Alice, is Talis all over the UK or is it a specific location?
Yeah, we're up in Scotland, so I kind of worked out. We're up in Scotland, then we have offices in Reading, Crawley, Templecombe, and then we have our digital security businesses, which are scattered throughout the. There's quite a lot of. I won't name them all, but yeah, we have lots of different locations for lots of different products that we make. So we would sell our products and work with the government for whatever they need to support them with the services that they need from us. So yeah.
Great. And before I go on, I just want to point out that we have a supporting careers resources pack that accompanies each one of our Industry Insights events, which you can also watch on demand. And they will detail more information about all of the employers taking part in the event and links to their careers pages as well. So I wanted to come back to you, Alice, actually, and find out more about the different levels of schemes that you offer at Talis.
So we offer a range of schemes depending on, so from level 4, so school leavers, right through to degree apprenticeships, which is the highest level. Apprenticeships with Talis are for everybody. They're not just for high academic achievers. We work all across different sectors that be, I think it was in the video, hardware, software systems, but also within corporate functions as well. So legal, procurement, and also project management. And I think we've got some in sales as well. We have doubled the amount of apprentices that we're taking on this year. We've got 107 vacancies at the moment. So the business really sees the value in having apprentices in our business. So yeah, they're all live on our website at the moment. So have a look. And if you're not ready yet, there's lots of information on our YouTube channel. If you wanted to have a look at that, we've got videos from apprentices sharing their story, so you can find out what it's really like to be an apprentice at Talis.
Thank you. Molly, are you able to give us an idea of the different levels of apprenticeships that are offered at DSTL?
At DSTL, we offer quite a wide range. We primarily, and Counter and Security, offer degree apprenticeships. Our two main ones being the Embedded Electronics Engineering, with a focus on RF, known as radio frequency, as well as our Ordnance, Munitions and Explosives degree apprenticeship, which is based all around different types of explosives and the devices that go around them. However, we have a huge range of apprenticeships that are open and shut throughout the year in corporate functions and in our more technical aspects at a variety of sites across the UK.
And what's the youngest age somebody can join an apprenticeship?
At DSTL, unfortunately, we do only hire people over the age of 18 at the start of the apprenticeship due to the security requirements. However, there's no upper age limit, and as long as you've got the enthusiasm for the apprenticeship, then you've got a shot at going. And we've had people as old as 30, 40 years old.
Great. And Alice, what's the youngest somebody can start an apprenticeship at Talis?
We take school leavers.
So 16?
Yeah, 16. And you'll have everybody who would be working with that individual as a lot of safeguarding, a lot of support into the workplace, and how you would be given a mentor. We have early careers, a team that would support you, and then you also have your cohort of apprentices who would support that individual as they start their career. But yeah, you're looked after with us, and we would make sure that you are supported in the role, because it could be quite a daunting thing coming out of school and straight into work. But it's a great way to learn about business and grow with the role and get paid for it.
We've got an eligibility question that's come in, and David actually has highlighted that the Secret Intelligence Service has recently changed their criteria, that so long as you've been a British national and have lived in the UK for 7 out of 10 years, you can still apply, and it doesn't matter whether your parents were born in the UK as well. How does that differ to the Royal Navy, Nathan?
So in terms of nationality, so we ask for British or dual national, or a Commonwealth citizen with 5 years residency within the UK.
And Alice?
Yeah, it changes all the time depending on what is going on in the world. At the moment, it's very difficult with Thales because we work on such sensitive projects that sometimes British-born people can only work on those projects. So it really does vary on the type of apprenticeship and also the projects that you're working on. So some of our roles you will have to be a British-born person. Other roles you won't. So it's a vague area, but I'd probably put anything that is within engineering, you would need to be British-born, because you would move around different areas. But anything that's within, say, legal, procurement, HR, it's not as vital, because you could be working on sort of more infrastructure type roles rather than engineering.
Molly, do you have an idea of eligibility from
So
citizenship?
Within DSTL, due to the sensitive nature of our work and how closely we work with the government and other more sensitive partners, we do require that everyone at least meets a minimum standard of being a British national with at least 5 years, the last 5 years residing in the UK. The majority of our apprenticeships do only require that. However, some projects and the majority of the roles will at least at some point require a much more strict level. I think about the same as what David would have said, at around 7 out of the last 10 years, British national.
So all quite similar, but very understandable why when you're dealing with government safety, the UK safety. So I'm going to change the subject completely now. Eamon has asked, actually, and this is to all employers, what non-academic achievements would give me an advantage when making an application? And Nathan, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, so I'd say all of our applicants, we look at you holistically. So think of it like a CV, and we'll look at you and see whether there's anything we can use in your application. So attributes such as teamwork, potential leadership, anything that displays those attributes, then we'll take that on board. If you've been a captain of a sports team, or you've worked on a project while at university, or college or school, anything along those lines, we can use that to bolster your application. And we always take that into consideration, because it is very important. Team cohesion, as you can imagine, when we're deployed, is right up there of what we're looking for, and even to the extent that if you're not quite meeting the educational qualification requirements, which I'm sure we will talk through towards the end, those can definitely go in your favour and push us to an accept on your application. Hope that answers your question.
Perfectly, thank you. Alice, do you look for any other skill sets?
Yeah, I mean, it varies on the role and the type of person that you are. So obviously, team building exercises and working on projects that you're involved with others is great, but it also gives you more to talk about when you're in an interview situation. But equally, we understand that not everybody likes being in a massive team and your sort of environment, and you might like doing things that are a bit more isolated. But the key thing for us when we're hiring is your passion for what you want to do. And we want to know who you are as an individual. I think it's really important when you are interviewing or choosing subjects that you stick to what is your what do you want to do, what's your pure passion in life, and making decisions based on that, because then you end up with a job that you love. So yeah, I think it's my advice would be to get involved with stuff that you enjoy, so that when you're in an interview situation you can then articulate that, and then your passion and personality will come through that as well.
And Molly, I'm going to tweak that question for you. Obviously, you're 5 months into your apprenticeship now. How did you decide on, okay, I want to be RF engineer? Was it an RF engineer?
Electronics engineering with a focus on RF.
There we go. How did you know that's exactly what I wanted to do? Did you have any prior experience? Did you have any other skill sets? And what made you think, okay, DSTL's for me?
Yeah, so I came from a fairly academic background. I did 3 levels at college, and throughout my time at college and at the end of secondary school, I knew I had a strong interest in computing, engineering, technology and science. And I found the apprenticeship, and I looked into the company, I looked into DSTL, what they do, and it just seemed like it was a good fit for me, so I applied. And then I think the way I was persuaded was during my interview, when I spoke to one of our technical people, and we just had a very casual feeling conversation about the fun pieces of technology we've played with at home. And it's just that real interest in STEM that made me interested in DSTL and DSTL interested in me.
And why didn't you go to university? You said you were highly academic and you took the apprenticeship route. What was the choice behind that?
I think for me it came down to just the personal choice of, I think I would have done okay in university, but from primarily a life experience perspective, I would have much enjoyed, and I am probably much enjoying the apprenticeship more than I would university, getting experience with general life things such as paying bills, which isn't sometimes the most fun, but then getting all the other fun adult experiences of going out with your work colleagues and having some fun in the office, and it's just given me so much more experience than I thought it would, and that I think I would gain, at least personally, at university.
Thank you. There is a huge misconception that actually apprenticeships are the route you take if you're less academic, for example. And I want to dispel that myth because it's simply not the case. I think quite rightly, as you said, Molly, it's a personal preference. It's how you want to learn, whether you want to go straight into employment as well and earn at the same time. But Alice, I want to come over to you because obviously you offer the degree apprenticeship as well, which you said is really challenging.
Yeah, so for us as a business, we work with educational partners, and they set the bar in terms of what the actual criteria is to do the courses, and so our degree apprenticeships are very, very high in terms of the grades that you need, but that's for the top level. So we have such a range upwards to work towards that if that was something that you wanted to do at a later date. So I don't think you should be put off if you think that the grade requirements for that actual apprenticeship that you are interested in, if you don't meet them, there might be one step down from that, then you could go and do that and then naturally progress into the later one after that. So it's I think it's explore everything. Don't just don't just kind of take things for granted, I suppose. But one thing that actually I've just forgotten what I was going to say, so I'll let you go on.
It's definitely not the easy option. If you think about, especially the degree apprenticeship, you're studying for a degree at the same time, you're taking classes as well as working as well. And Nathan, I just want to come to you now because at the Royal Navy you offer different levels and you do go up to the degree apprenticeship. How would you say the type of people that are coming in, would you say they're coming into your roles because it's a less academic route?
No, absolutely not. I think, as Molly has just said, it depends on your personality really and what you're looking for. I think the type of people we get in the Royal Navy are looking for something slightly different. Yes, we do offer our apprenticeships all accredited with NVQ, and we'll teach you how to, as we talked about, rip apart engineering systems, put them back together, or wherever you want to go down, any of our other apprenticeship routes, whether it be a chef or logistician. I think where we differ is what we can offer you that a civilian career cannot. So the variation of the roles that we operate around the world, whether you want to work in humanitarian aid, counter-piracy, or indeed in the Mediterranean, assisting with the migrant crossings and helping people out in that sense. A real sense of job satisfaction and a variation there, as well as what we can offer in terms of travel all around the world, America, the Far East, and those kind of additional roles that people, I think, identify with and then join the Royal Navy for those reasons, as opposed to just an apprenticeship, which we do offer as well. So it's a bit of both in terms, yeah.
Great, thank you. A very specific question now. So somebody is interested in a career in counter-terrorism and would like to know where they can start. So start research and finding out the types of roles and companies that take those jobs on. Alice, have you got any advice?
I think it's a bit different. I'm not really an expert in counter-terrorism myself, but I think if you've got a subject that you're interested in or want to proceed in that career, is connect with people maybe on LinkedIn that you can find that have got relevant, or Google companies that may be attached to counter-terrorism. Look at you probably got to be careful with what you Google these days, but I think doing research and finding out, going to events as well is a really good one. A DSTI, where there's a big defence exhibition at the Excel Centre, which is a really cool place to go to see what's going on in the sector. I'd recommend going to things that you can kind of get a feel of what everything's about, and trying to network through businesses and people that actually have something to do with it, and kind of ask them how to do. Molly's probably better at this.
Would you say there's a particular skill set or any additional skills people can get to help themselves get into a counter-terrorism role?
Yeah, so I think it generally will depend on what sort of you would consider a counter-terrorism role. So there are the counter-terrorism in the police, who go out day to day and deal with potentially real counter-terrorism threats in the form of terrorists. And then at DSTL, our electronics engineering degree apprenticeship sits within the counter-terrorism and security division. So we do a huge amount of work with police, Home Office, and similar partner organisations and we develop the technology to support them in their day-to-day operations, specific operations and things like that. So I'd look into the role that you want to get into within counter-terrorism, see what other people have done. As Alice said, be careful with what you Google, and just see what interests you, really. What about the counter-terrorism industry is for you? What do you like?
Great. Alice, I've got a question based on location, specifically for you, actually. Can the apprentice choose which location they would be based at?
Yeah, you can. I think if you apply for a role in that area, then the role is advertised, then absolutely. But then you would have to think about, you're going to have to move to that area, you're going to have to find accommodation. So, if you can set yourself up there and you're old enough to leave home, yes, I think, yeah, absolutely.
Great. I have a question for you, Nathan, now. As you travel so much with your work and spend so much time with work colleagues, how easy is it to get a break from work?
So when we're together, we really are together when we're deployed, but they very quickly become the very best of mates, and you do enjoy spending a lot of time with them. However, as always, you can do with a bit of a break. So what we have what's called deployment leave. So when we're finished the deployment, we're given extra leave for that, normally in the region of 3 weeks. We're also very generous with our amount of annual leave. So we get 7 weeks a year, including bank holidays. Again, that's probably a lot more than you'd get from another civilian company. So you do get time to have some time away from work. We're also very heavily push what we call adventurous training. So that's everyone in the military and the Navy as well is entitled to 1 week of what we call adventurous training. That's separate to your leave. And I've just took my week. I've just been skiing in France, heavily subsidised by the Royal Navy, and that's completely separate to my leave as well. So it's all a break from work and to get some downtime away. And that can be used for climbing, scuba diving, sailing, and can be more than a week as well. And that's all, again, either paid for or very heavily subsidised by the Royal Navy.
7 weeks holiday.
Yeah, I know. Sign me up.
That's fantastic. Okay, DSTL. We'll move on from holiday because I don't think any of us can probably beat that one. But how formal is working at DSTL?
DSTL on a day-to-day basis is a fairly casual workplace. We have no strict dress code other than don't come in a pair of tighty-whities and wear something that's safe for the work you're doing. But generally, it's a very casual workplace as far as office-based jobs go, as far as I'm aware. Most people show up in jeans and a T-shirt and a hoodie, sit down in a chair and do some work, chatting at people who pass, and everyone generally is pretty friendly with each other. It's just an incredibly relaxed workplace, but we still get plenty of work done, which is nice.
Great. And would you say that's similar for Thales?
Yeah, definitely. I think at Thales, we really want everyone to be their own unique self, and that is definitely, we have a Be You With Us campaign. So we want everyone in the business to feel that they can come to work and be their unique self. So whether someone wants to come and dressed as a suit because they feel more comfortable because they're there to be in business, or whether they want to come to work in their trainers and hoodies, then that's all absolutely fine as well. I was just thinking today's probably the first time I've worn a suit jacket since before COVID, so there you go.
And Nathan, obviously I'm guessing your uniform's kind of strict, but is this at certain times?
So I'd say, so we'll say we're slightly the opposite. So obviously we are the military, we are the armed forces, so we do have a uniform. So most of the time you'd be in this, forms part of the uniformality and also forms part of your PPE. So this is actually fire resistant as well. So you wear this on board as well as in the office environment. Obviously there's times when we have sort of your fitness, or if you're into your sport, then there's no strict uniform for that. You can wear whatever sporting equipment you'd like. But definitely in the workplace, we're a little bit more formal than the other two companies, but you don't have to think about what you need to wear in the morning. Just put it on. It's okay. Not a bad thing.
There's definitely that, and 7 weeks holiday.
Yeah.
So, Alice, I've got another question for you, actually, from a school careers advisor. They wondered if Thales have any careers evenings that students can attend to network or find out more information.
Oh my God, it's almost like that question has just been like plugged to me. We've got one tonight online. It's on Eventbrite. It's a virtual insight into careers apprenticeships with Thales. That is not a setup. That is a genuine question that has come through. If you want to go to Eventbrite and Google Thales Insight Evening, it is this evening. I think it's at 6:30. But we do them, and we love coming out to schools and coming and giving talks. And we just had an event in Crawley near Gatwick where we had 200 potential apprentices from year 7 to year 13 that came along. we do it. We love it. Now that COVID's over, it's so much nicer to be able to talk to everybody in person and actually come out with our engineers and people who are part of the business to share their story and how they got involved. I've actually just remembered what I was going to say before, which was a really interesting point that came from one of my apprentices when we were working. We were doing a CTM pathway virtual evening, and he said that he did go to university for a year because all his friends were going to university, and he said he knew that probably wouldn't have been the right path for him at the time when he went to university and was applying, and he wished he'd done the apprentice, which he ended up doing a year and a half later than he should have done. So if you're feeling that you want to move towards more of apprentice but all your friends are going to uni, I just thought I'd share that with you in case that might help your decision.
And the sponsored degree apprenticeship does bridge that. We've heard from degree apprentices this week who have totally enjoyed the hybrid of living very close to their university and being in student halls accommodation whilst also working at the same time. They feel like they really had the best of both worlds. I'm just conscious of time. We've got a couple more questions, and I am going to ask, for the careers, the Eventbrite, can people find that from the careers link that we already have for Thales?
Is there a link from there? Do you have a chat function?
Yep.
I could maybe share it in that after this.
So we'll post the Thales careers link. In terms of DSTL, do you have any virtual or in-person events where you share with schools and colleges?
Yeah, so we have a few events. We go out to a number of schools, mostly in the local area, to our sites, where we'll talk about DSTL, our apprenticeships, etc. We don't generally, as far as I'm aware, do many virtual or in-person events outside of going to schools. Any information will be available on government website. But yeah, generally we mostly do things with schools. So if you are a school careers advisor or something similar and you do want to do an event with us, feel free to reach out to recruitment team or press. Will probably be the best shout. And I'm sure they'll be willing to set something up.
Great. And I have one final question. I know we started slightly later, but obviously careers within defence and security, we've talked heavily about the confidentiality and not being able to talk about that. How do your organisations support the mental well-being of early talent and how to deal with being so private, or I don't want to say secretive, but not talking about what it is you do for a living, a job? And I'm going to go to Molly first.
Yeah, so we have a variety of support systems available, informal and formal. Generally, your first port of call will be your team leader. They are the person who is directly responsible for you as an individual. And within our apprenticeship team, we have 2 team leaders directly on hand just to cater for us apprentices, to support us with any needs, including mental health and dealing with the confidentiality and security aspect. And we have a number of formal programmes. We have an occupational health department who is 1 phone call away. And we have our Enable D and our Genius Within programmes. So Genius Within is a more external partnership with another organisation to support neurodiversity within the workplace. But there are a number of places you can go if you need any kind of support, mental health or otherwise.
Brilliant, thank you. And Alice?
Yes, so I think from the point of offer with Thales as apprentices, you are then, we have a software tool called Connector, which connects everybody that we are, who are going to be part of the 2023 or whatever year it is at your successful intake. So you'll meet colleagues that will support you within that side of things. Then you'll have a manager who would be responsible for your well-being and being looked after in your day-to-day role. And then you would have a buddy or mentor as well. We also have mental first aiders for mental health. And then we have people within our early careers team that if you have an issue with your course or you're not happy with anything, you can talk to us as a team. We also then have a wider HR function where you're able to talk to people if you don't want to bring early careers into it and talk to someone from HR. And then we also have employee assistance program. We have, I think you get 6 sessions of counselling if you needed it. So there is a real range and it's growing all the time. We have an app, like a Mindful app that everyone has access to at Talis. We have various networks throughout the business. We have a Women in Business network. We have Reach network. We have Neurodiversity network, and you can talk to people who are, in that network who can support each other. And I think I've covered everything, but yeah, we have lots available.
That's great. I'm going to have to call it there, I'm afraid. I want to thank all of our speakers for being part of the event today. It's been fantastic, and thank you for your questions as well, because we've had so many varied questions coming in over the hour. Apologies if we didn't get round to answering all of them, but thank you for watching and taking part. Thank you for our employers for sparing the time, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the series. It will all be available on demand to watch on the same page that you're viewing from now, along with the Careers Resources Pack with all of the links to the different organisations' careers pages as well. Many thanks.